You think Uber just disrupted the taxi business? Try bribing officials, dodging taxes, and running secret ops in 40 countries. Leaked internal documents, known as the Uber files, show this wasn't a startup, it was a global lobbying machine with a kill switch. Literally, they shut down computers during police raids. Cozy texts with Emmanuel Macron. Backroom deals with Boris Johnson. And they used violence against their own drivers to gain sympathy in the press. No rules, no limits, just growth at any cost. So how did they get away with it? And what does that say about every other tech giant playing the same game? All right, people, strap in, because today's story isn't about some plucky little app shaking up the taxi industry. No, this one's about global rule-breaking, political backroom deals, and a startup that looked at the law and said, nah, that's optional. Let's rewind the clock to 2013. Uber was the hottest thing in Silicon Valley. Their motto? Move fast and break things. Their actual motto? Set up shop, ignore the rules, and bulldoze anyone who stands in the way. So what did they do? They launched in cities where ride-sharing was flat out illegal. No licenses, no permits, no problem. They dropped their drivers into hostile legal territory and dared the regulators to catch up. And when those regulators actually tried to enforce the law, that's when Uber unveiled its favorite little toy, the kill switch. This wasn't some metaphor. It was an actual digital dead man's switch that let them shut down their systems during police raids. Cops walk into the office, boom, screens go black, access denied, evidence gone. Travis Kalanick himself gave the green light. Amsterdam, Montreal, Paris, all confirmed. That's not innovation, that's obstruction of justice with a tech bro filter. Smash that like button if your jaw is starting to drop. Now, while their drivers were getting fined, assaulted, and dragged into court for operating illegally, what was Uber doing? Spinning it as a tragedy. Not just any tragedy, but one that conveniently stirred public sympathy. Kalanick even said in leaked chats that violence against drivers was worth it if it helped their cause. Let that sink in. They gambled with real people's lives to play politics. But the politics didn't stop there. This wasn't just a Silicon Valley hustle, it was a globe-trotting lobbying tour. Uber executives were waltzing through the corridors of power like it was their private networking event. French President Emmanuel Macron personally helped rewrite laws for Uber. Boris Johnson rolled out the red carpet in London. In the US, they unleashed a blitz of lobbyists so thick you'd think they were running for office. Hit subscribe if you think democracy shouldn't come with an API. They weren't just lobbying, they were buying influence, plain and simple. Millions spent on consultants, former government officials, and PR firms. Offshore accounts shuffled cash to dodge taxes. Meanwhile, their drivers couldn't even get health care. Uber slashed prices to undercut competitors, burned through venture capital like it was napalm, and pretended to be broke whenever someone mentioned fair wages. All while regulators nodded along, sometimes from inside Uber's own boardroom. Let's talk surveillance. Uber wasn't just tracking rides, they tracked journalists. They used software to flag and block known government employees. They even had a secret unit to hide sensitive data from law enforcement. This wasn't some rogue department. It was strategy, centralized, approved, sanitized, for plausible deniability. And then came the reckoning. In 2022, the Uber files dropped like a legal nuke. Over 124,000 internal documents leaked. Emails, memos, texts, all out in the open. The whole game laid bare. The kill switch, the lobbying, the dirty tactics. Whistleblowers stepped forward with receipts. Governments from the EU to India launched investigations. Antitrust lawsuits started popping up like mushrooms after a storm. Uber's response? That was the old Uber, we've changed. But you don't scrub off this kind of stain with a rebrand and a mission statement. You broke laws. You broke trust. And karma, my friends, doesn't offer surge pricing. It shows up exactly when it wants to. And what about Travis Kalanick, the visionary rebel behind it all? Forced out in 2017, under fire for sexual harassment scandals, a toxic culture, and well, everything we just talked about. Did he go to jail? Of course not. He cashed out with millions, because in tech, too toxic to lead just means ready for your next investment round. So what does this mean for you? Every time you tap that app, you're not just booking a ride, you're participating in a business model engineered to skirt the law, squeeze labor, and rewrite regulation in real time. That's not disruption, that's domination. Follow if you think Uber isn't the only one doing it. Because behind every sleek tech solution is a system optimized to move fast, break things, and settle up later, if ever. And next time you get into a rideshare, ask yourself, are you riding in comfort or just hitching a lift on the highway of corporate corruption? Because if this is what success looks like, we might all want to check the fine print